Chapter 66. We just don't like each other, Suanan said indifferently. Seeing that the old man did not receive the jade pendant, she placed it in front of him. Fine. The old tutor sighed. If he took back the jade pendant, the marriage would be annulled. Anan, my birthday is coming up in 2 days. Are you coming? Old man Mu invited. The marriage between you and Jin Yu will not work, but I have always treated you as my own granddaughter. Seeing that the old man was sincerely inviting her, and that the banquet in 2 days was going to be his 80th birthday, Suanan thought that it wouldn't be a big deal to give him a present. She could ignore all the other annoying people in the Mu family. All right. Suanan agreed. After sitting with the old man for a while, Suanan thought of going to the market to find a similar bracelet for her sister, so she took her leave. When she was about to leave, the shop door was pushed open. She didn't notice the person who entered and rammed into him. The man staggered a few steps from Suanan and almost fell to the ground. I'm sorry, sir. Suanan apologized repeatedly. She looked over at the man, who was wearing a pair of gold-rimmed glasses. I'm fine. The man pursed his lips into a smile, looked at Suanan, and said. As he spoke, he took the lead to walk past Suanan. Suanan took a few steps forward. Feeling that something was wrong, she turned around to look at the man who had walked into the shop. No wonder she felt something was wrong. No wonder this man was knocked over by her. He limped on. It turned out he was crippled. What a pity that this man had such a good piece of skin. Unexpectedly, one of his feet was damaged. Suanan looked at him again, then left the hotel. Shortly after she left, the man came out and walked to a limo parked outside the hotel. The man in the driver's seat watched him come back and handed him the tablet. Mr. Hao, the woman who bumped into you was Suanan. He looked at the picture of Suanan on the screen. The gentleness in his eyes no longer in the frame. His eyes had an additional trace of ruthlessness, and the corners of his mouth hooked up in a strange smile. Suanan! Find someone to follow her. After Suanan saw Old Man Mu, she went to find her sister's bracelet. Because her sister's bracelet had been worn for more than 7 years, there was no longer any outdated bracelet on the market. Suanan had no choice but to find someone to thread it again and fix the bracelet on its own. On the largest bead, Suanan saw the word Sheng carved on it. Since it was carved, this bracelet was a couple's bracelet. The other was in the hands of a man named Ashon. Finding the bracelet meant not finding him. However, 7 years had passed, and the bracelet was old, so the market could not find the exact same one. Perhaps the man was already dead. Or perhaps he had gotten married and had children, and had forgotten her sister. Sigh, the matters of love were really puzzling. Her sister's appearance made her feel even worse. Suanan left the bracelet inside the shop to fix it. When she returned to the Su family, she heard Su Zihan's happy voice before she even opened the door. Seeing Suanan coming in, Su Zihan remembered that her face had been beaten red and swollen. She really wanted to tear off Suanan's beautiful face, but she was afraid of Gumo Cheng, who was behind Suanan, so she stared at her with hatred. Suanan replied with a bright smile. Seeing this smile, Su Zihan's temper immediately burst out. Suanan! She bellowed, and Junmei immediately pulled her back. Junmei had already told Su Zihan that she shouldn't provoke Suanan during this period of time. Instead, she was angered by the sound of her laughter. And Su Zihan exploded once again. Yes. Suanan answered and didn't plan to bother with her after that. Seeing that Suanan was about to leave, Su Zihan immediately raised her voice and said with a smile, Anan, after 2 days, will you be going to Old Man Mu's birthday? Oh yeah, you're with an old man now for money, and you can't wait to have a date with someone. The Mu family doesn't like this kind of trash. Suanan smiled at her. To deal with someone like Su Zihan, there was no need to say anything. She smiled at her, and naturally Su Zihan would explode. Sure enough, Su Zihan saw that Suanan was smiling at her, so she clenched her teeth in fists and scolded. Suanan, don't even think about entering the Mu family. I don't want to go in, Suanan replied with a smile. Big sister Zihan, don't worry, I will definitely not fight with you over that trash Mu Jinyu. Since he was given to Su Zihan, she definitely would not thank her again in the future. Mu Jinyu was able to carry her on his back with Su Zihan, and in the future he would carry Su Zihan and other women and roll in the bed together. How could Su Zihan endure such a temper, and how could Su Zihan endure being together with another woman? Thinking about that scene, Suanan was filled with anticipation. Suanan, you are not allowed to attend Old Man Mu's banquet, Su Zihan said again. This was not something that Suanan could decide. The old master had even sent his invitation card to her. How could she not go? However, even if you want to, you don't have an invitation card. Su Zihan continued to speak proudly. Let me tell you, just now, Brother Jin Yu came to send you the invitation card. Uncle Mu and Auntie Mu want me to go to Grandfather Mu as Jin Yu's girlfriend for his birthday banquet. Hearing Su Zihan's words, Mu Jin Yu's parents were anxious for Su Zihan to marry into the Mu family. They were going to fix it. It was pretty good. Suanan, did you hear what I said? Su Zihan asked. Suanan did not nod her head, and did not say that Old Man Mu had given her an invitation. She looked at Junmei, who was beside her. Junmei saw that Suanan was looking back at her with cold eyes. Anan, you running to Old Man Mu's birthday feast will only make everyone feel awkward. Jiang Mei followed by saying, Mu Jinyu's father told me to tell you something. He advised you not to go to old man Mu's banquet. Zihan is his daughter-in-law. If you go, don't blame him for being merciless. Mu Jinyu's parents did not welcome her going over. The last time they saw the picture of Su Anan and a strange man hugging each other, they felt that she was unable to be Mu family's wife. If Su Anan went to the old man's birthday banquet and the old man suggested that she and Mu Jinyu get married, then they would have no choice but to take action against Su Anan. Su Anan laughed coldly. Was this a threat to her? How could they forget that Mu Jinyu had fallen into the lake that year? Without her mother risking her life to save him, would Mu Jinyu still be able to date Su Zihan? Right, auntie. Su Anan did not respond to Jiang Mei's words. She deliberately mentioned something else. I saw second aunt coming out of Zihan's room yesterday. Zihan didn't throw anything, right? Just as Su Anan finished speaking, Jiang Mei's expression changed. Su Zihan seemed to have thought of something and quickly ran upstairs. The golden Buddha she bought for the old man was in the cupboard. It couldn't be that second aunt Su took it away, right? Su Anan, you told her to go to Zihan's room to retrieve her things. Jiang Mei asked angrily. Su Anan laughed. Auntie, you didn't ask second aunt to come here. How is it possible for her to come in without your permission? Chapter 67. Su Anan laughed. Auntie, you didn't ask second aunt to come here. How is it possible for her to come in without your permission? After Jiang Mei said this and left, she clenched her teeth in anger. Yesterday, she was the one who called second aunt Su over, but she wanted her to take away the good things in Su Anan's chest. Mom, the golden Buddha I bought for the old man is gone. Upstairs, they heard Su Zihan's panicked shouts. Jiang Mei remembered to ask second aunt Su yesterday if she had given her any good things. Second aunt Su only said the words, given to him, and then left in a hurry. Second aunt Su took Zihan's things and really threw a rock at her. Mom, what do we do now? What else could she do? If she asked second aunt Su for it, she would definitely not admit it. Buy it. Jiang Mei walked up the stairs and said to Su Zihan, buy a gift that is more expensive than the golden Buddha. Her guess was right. Second aunt Su was using the golden Buddha as a congratulatory gift for Suya. If Su Zihan's gift was worse than Suya's, she would lose face for the Zhang family and herself. On the day of old man Mu's birthday, Su Anan came down from the top floor and saw that Su Zihan and Jiang Mei were in a hurry to go out. As Su Hua had something to do, the Mu family sent Su Zihan and Jiang Mei there. When they saw Su Anan, they remembered that the Mu family's invitation was in their hands. Even if Su Anan wanted to go, she wouldn't be able to enter. However, what they did not know was that the old master had personally given the invitation card to Su Anan. Su Anan left the room after a while. She did not dress up much and wore a simple and elegant dress. She sent a message to Gumo Cheng, telling him to attend the birthday banquet at the Mu family. She didn't know how much Gumo Cheng knew about her, nor did she know that Mu Jinyu was her fiancé. When Su Anan arrived at the hotel where the birthday banquet was held, the outside of the hotel was extremely lively. Old man Mu's eldest son, who was also Mu Jinyu's father, was welcoming the guests on behalf of the old man. When Tequila saw Su Anan first, she immediately pushed Mu's father, who was beside her. Why is she here? Mu's father asked with a cold expression. When he was giving the Su family the invitation card, he said that he didn't want Su Anan to come over. Why is Su Anan here? How would I know? Tequila was also getting anxious. Such an important occasion should not have any accidents. If not only would he lose face, he would also be ridiculed by the second branch. Get rid of her. So many people are watching. Tequila stopped him. They were afraid that Su Anan would cause trouble by annulling the engagement and ruin her reputation. I'll talk to her. As she was speaking, Su Anan had already walked in front of Mu's father and Tequila. Anan, why are you here? Tequila revealed a smile, pulled Su Anan's hand and said, Auntie is very busy today. I can't entertain you. Go back to the Su family first. After some time, Auntie will invite you over to my house. Su Anan withdrew her hand and also smiled as she looked at Tequila. Afraid of her? That's right, the engagement between her and Mu Jinyu was made by the old man. The Mu family didn't publicly end the engagement, so she was still Mu Jinyu's fiancé now. Auntie, uncle, I'm here to congratulate Grandpa on his birthday. Su Anan had just finished speaking when Mu's father's expression darkened. He looked at her in disgust. Our Mu family does not welcome you. They knew about Su Anan's situation and thought she was truly shameless. For the sake of money, she decided to follow an old man and even made a ruckus outside. This kind of woman was not fit to enter their Mu family's door. And Anne, listen up. Go back to the Su family first, Tequila said with a dull face. Why should I go back? I'm brother Jinyu's fiancé, Su Anan said deliberately. All the hotel doors guests came and went, and all the guests who passed by heard what Su Anan said. Mu's father's and Tequila's expressions were already ugly. They did not like Su Anan and had always tried to show off to old man Mu. After knowing about Su Anan's matters, it was even more impossible for them to accept this daughter-in-law. Su Anan, don't refuse a toast only to drink a forfeit, Mu's father threatened. Su Anan smiled. She really didn't want to come to the Mu family, but since the old man had personally invited her, she couldn't refuse. Get out of my way. Seeing that guests were passing by and looking at them, Mu's father spoke in a low voice. An, you should quickly leave. Our Mu family does not welcome you. Tequila stood in front of Suanan and said. Suanan opened her bag and took out the invitation card. Lady Mu, can I go in now? When Mu's father saw the invitation card, he was stunned. The two of them did not even have time to react before Suanan walked past Tequila and into the hotel. They immediately opened the invitation card and saw that it was given to her by their Mu family. Who gave Suanan this invitation card? If it wasn't them, and it wasn't Jin Yu, could it be the old man? With that in mind, they could only let Suanan enter. Furthermore, because Suanan appeared at the entrance, it attracted a lot of discussion from the guests. One of them recognized Suanan and pointed at her. Isn't this the young master of the Mu family's fiancée? Third miss, the Mu family doesn't seem to let her in. On the surface, Suanan was still Mu Jinyu's fiancée. I heard that the young master of the Mu family and the second miss are getting along well. It can't be, they are sisters. On the surface, this young master of the Mu family seems gentle and refined. I never thought that he would also do such a thing. Mu's father was so embarrassed by their words. Even if his own son had let Suanan down, Suanan had let his son down first. Let her in first, Lady Mu said softly to Mu's father. Her gaze landed on a car parked in front of the inn. Old Man Gu and Old Mistress have arrived. Saying that, Mu's father looked over and saw an old man walk to the back of the car to help the old lady out. If she doesn't settle down, then we'll take this opportunity to annul the engagement, Mu's father said. After he finished speaking, Mu's father brought Lady Mu and walked towards the honorable guests at the entrance to greet them. When Suanan walked into the hall, she coincidentally saw Mu Jinyu. When she was at the hotel door, Mu Jinyu saw her. Thinking that Suanan had betrayed him, that Suanan did not want him to apologize at the mall, and that she had even thrown Mu Jinyu over her shoulder, Mu Jinyu was infuriated. His face was gloomy as he looked coldly at Suanan, who was walking towards him. He had thought that if Suanan smiled and greeted him, he would definitely ignore her. Make her apologize to Zihan and make her treat him properly. However, Suanan didn't even bother to greet him and just passed by him like air. Alright, since she treated him like that, there was no need for him to show her any mercy. So the marriage was annulled today. Chapter 68, Su Zihan was very depressed. The old man did not even spare her a glance at the gift that she had meticulously chosen and just threw it at the servant. She gritted her teeth in hatred. She had bought this gift at a casual shopping mall last night. The price was much higher than the one for the golden Buddha. The old man didn't even accept it and just tossed it down to the people below. Jiang Mei saw that Su Zihan's face was filled with anger and quickly pulled her to the banquet seat. In this kind of situation, Su Zihan could not show her face. Mom, Su Zihan was unhappy that she was pulled away by Jiang Mei. Jiang Mei sighed and said, Zihan, that is old man Mu, Jinyu's grandfather. With Su Zihan's temper, Jiang Mei was worried that she would not be liked by the Mu family after marrying Mu Jinyu. It was also because of this that Jiang Mei was very supportive of Su Zihan being with him. The Mu family was not a match for the Jiang family. Even if Su Zihan's true nature were to be exposed in the future, the Mu family would allow her to do as she pleased on behalf of the Jiang family. If she were looking for the Shao family or the Han family, then she might not go along with Su Zihan. As a mother, she had to think carefully about her daughter's life. I know, Su Zihan said, but why does he look down on me so much? Su Zihan said unhappily, he only has Suanan in his eyes. How can Suanan compare to me? Yes, old man Mu had his eyes on Suanan as his granddaughter-in-law. He knew that Mu Jinyu and Su Zihan were together, but the old man didn't agree to this marriage. I'll put more effort into it from now on, Jiang Mei said. It's best if you are pregnant with Jinyu's child now. She didn't know which son the power of the Mu family would land on. But the old man previously liked Suanan and more or less favored Mu Jinyu's parents. Now that Mu Jinyu and Su Zihan were together, the old master took this opportunity to give the Mu family's power to his second son. If having a child was different, for the sake of a child, the old man would agree to this marriage and think highly of Mu Jinyu. I don't want it, Su Zihan said in displeasure. She was still young, so she shouldn't have given birth so early. As they spoke, a girl came up to them. Aunt, Sister Zihan? Su Zihan raised her head, looked at Suya, and ignored her. The invitation card that Suya had asked for was something that second Aunt Su shamelessly came to Jiang Mei to request. Jiang Mei looked at Suya, who was simply dressed, and nodded. The matter of second Aunt Su taking the golden Buddha from Zihan for a congratulatory gift was something that Jiang Mei and Su Zihan greatly hated. With the old granny's help, second Aunt Su's family often came to take things from them. If they were angry, when the old granny heard about the arrangement of second Aunt Su, she would run over to Su Hua's side and say that they were unfilial. Thinking about the damned old granny, Jiang Mei looked at Suya with an even colder gaze than before. The reason Suya came here was simply to help her climb the dragon's back. Jiang Mei didn't mind giving her face so that she could participate in these banquets. With Suya's normal looks, those rich and powerful young masters did not think much of her. Even if they did, they would just leave her for fun. Second Aunt Su wanted to send her daughter into the wealthy class. Aunt, can I sit with you? Sia said softly. I'm a little scared. Su Zihan laughed in disdain. What are you afraid of? Didn't you give the old man a precious gift? The old man should like you very much, Su Zihan ridiculed. Sia's eyes reddened. Is that gift yours, Sister Zihan? Sorry, Sister Zihan, I didn't know. Mother gave me the golden Buddha. I thought she bought it outside. Hearing Sia's voice, which was filled with grievances, Jianmei looked around. Then, with a calm expression, she said, Sit down. While speaking, Su Zihan and Jianmei continued to chat, completely ignoring Suya, who was beside them. After Su Anan entered, she first gave the present to the old man. In contrast to his cold and detached attitude towards Su Zihan, the old man stood up the moment he saw Su Anan coming in. He received Su Anan's gift and said that he liked it without even opening it. Su Zihan and Jianmei saw this scene, and Su Zihan especially gritted her teeth as she saw this. How did she get in? The Mu family's invitation letter was in their hands. It must have been from the old man. He had already told her not to come to old man Mu's banquet, but she still dared to come. They saw the old tutor's smiling face again. It was truly eccentric. But since she had come, Su Anan's reputation was in ruins. The birthday feast had begun. The old longevity star, supported by his children, slowly walked into the hall. Seeing Su Anan at her arranged seat in the banquet hall, he smiled with gratitude. Back then, if not for Su Anan's mother, Mu Jinyu would have already died. The old tutor felt that it was natural for him to repay this kindness with her body. But now his grandson was apologizing to Su Anan. No matter what, the Mu family had to compensate her. The old man stood on the stage and first thanked the guests, then said a few words of blessings. Following that, he paused for a moment before his gaze landed on Su Anan. Today is my 80th birthday. I have another matter to announce. When he said that, Mu's father and the rest noticed that the old man was staring at Su Anan. Why doesn't father listen to us? They thought that the old man wanted to announce the date of Mu Jinyu's and Su Anan's wedding. He said to Tequila, Is the item ready? Yes, it has already been arranged. Tequila nodded. Mu Jinyu, who was sitting beside them, knew what they planned to do to Su Anan, but he did not object. He continued to drink his wine, occasionally glancing at Su Anan, who was playing on her phone. At the banquet, Su Anan was bored. She would look at her phone from time to time, but why hadn't Gumocheng replied to her text? He must be busy. She had better wait and call him. Mom, what does the old man want to do? Su Zihan also noticed that the old man's later announcement had something to do with Su Anan. She didn't understand why the old man wanted Su Anan to be his granddaughter-in-law, since she was a second miss and also had the Zhang family behind her. Who did Su Anan think she was? What qualifications did she have? Don't be impatient, Jianmei consoled. Even if the old master were to announce the marriage between Su Anan and Mu Jinyu, Mu's father and Tequila would stand out to oppose it. Moreover, the reason for this opposition would definitely cause Su Anan's reputation to go down the drain. Wait a minute. Pay attention to your emotions. The act is done, Jianmei reminded her with a smile. Su Zihan understood what Jianmei meant. This plan had been brewing since the night Su Anan was drugged, and it was the best opportunity to execute it now. In front of the old tutor, in front of half of the influential people in Peace City. If Su Anan's reputation was ruined, then Gu Mocheng wouldn't want her. No man would keep a woman who gave him a green hat. Anan, come up, the old man who was climbing up the stairs said and waved at Su Anan. Chapter 69. Su Anan, who had sent a text message to Gu Mocheng, was waiting for his message. Hearing the old man's words, she raised her head. Anan, come to grandfather Mu's side, the old man Mu continued. Su Anan didn't understand what the old man wanted to do, but she still stood up. When Su Anan walked over, the old man took out a jade pendant. This jade pendant was something that Su Anan had returned, and was also the keepsake of her and Mu Jinyu's engagement ceremony. Su Anan walked in front of the old man and looked at him with suspicion. Keep this jade pendant, the old man said as he stuffed the jade pendant into Su Anan's hands. When he saw the jade pendant, Mu's father stood up. What was the old man doing? He wanted to give the majority of the Mu family to a little girl. In the past, Su Anan and Mu Jinyu had an engagement, but now Su Anan had followed another man. Dad, she has no right to accept this jade pendant. Mu's father stood up first and stopped him. He thought that the old master was determined for Mu Jinyu to marry her. Father, she is not worthy of Jinyu. I do not agree with her entering the Mu family. Grandfather Mu, I'll return the jade pendant to you. Su Anan also did not want it. Taking the jade pendant would mean marrying Mu Jinyu. She did not want it. The old man looked at the jade pendant in Su Anan's hands, but did not receive it. He then turned to look at Mu's father and mocked. When will the Mu family be under your control? Mu's father's face reddened as he said, Dad, you are the one in charge of the Mu family, but I am Jinyu's father. I have the authority to decide who becomes my daughter-in-law. She, Su Anan, is not qualified. Saying that, the big screen behind old man Mu suddenly lit up, and a photo flashed into everyone's eyes. The picture was not a photo, but a scene of a man and a woman embracing each other. Su Anan turned her head to look. It was her and Gu Mocheng's room outside the Su family. The photo took her side profile and Gu Mocheng's back figure, but this was her first time taking a picture with Gu Mocheng, so she would think of a way to take it later to hide it. Old Man Mu turned his head and saw the hand that the man placed on Suanon's waist, and his eyes widened. His attention was focused on the watch on the man's wrist. There were two people in Peace City who had this watch. One was Xiaoyan and the other was... Thinking about who it was, Old Man Mu turned around and looked at Suanon. When Old Man Gu and Old Lady Gu, who were sitting at the banquet table, saw the photo, they immediately recognized that it was their son. Old Madame Gu was extremely excited and pushed Old Man Gu, who was standing by her side. "Old man, your son." Old Man Gu also saw that, and his gaze landed on Suanon, who was beside Mu family's old man. This girl was the girl his son had married. "The little girl is so beautiful, her match is too unfair," Old Madame Gu said, implying that Suanon was not worthy. Old Man Gu pretended not to hear anything that was said about his son. Moreover, the main point right now wasn't this, but that the little girl was being pointed at and scolded. "They are trying to bully our little girl," Old Madame Gu reacted and said excitedly. After just a glance, Old Lady Gu changed her words and classified Suanon as her own. When Old Lady Gu stood up, Old Man Gu held her hand. "No rush, let's see more." He wanted to see if this girl was worthy of the position of Gu family's matriarch. Mu's father, who was below the stage, saw Old Man Mu staring at Suanon with a serious expression. He thought that the old man was angry because of this photo and continued to speak. "Dad, she is cheating outside. She does not have the qualifications to marry Jinyu. It was a heinous crime to accuse a girl of cheating." Suanon raised her head and looked at the angry Mu's father. "Grandfather, I won't marry her." Mu Jinyu stood up and said solemnly to the old man, "I love Suzy Han." He glanced at Suanon. "Suanon, I said I would make you regret it." To show that his true love was Suzy Han, Mu Jinyu walked in front of the guests and pulled her to stand by his side. The good birthday feast instantly changed in an instant and became a true love witness for Mu Jinyu and Suzy Han. Suanon looked at Mu Jinyu and Suzy Han, then listened to the surrounding people's discussion about them. During the last Su family banquet, when Suzy Han and Mu Jinyu openly held hands and kissed on the lips, someone had found out about their relationship. She had no feelings for Mu Jinyu for a long time, so she didn't care about what they wanted to do. "Grandfather, she's already with another man." In front of all the guests present, Mu Jinyu stared at Suanon and said. Old Man Mu's face was very pale. When Mu Jinyu said that he wanted to end the marriage, he did not feel angry. But Mu Jinyu joining hands with Mu's father to say that Suanon had a man outside was extremely cruel to a girl who was unmarried. The old master couldn't help but size up his highly regarded eldest grandson. Jinyu didn't have any feelings for Suanon, so why would he bully a girl like this? Furthermore, there was no Suanon's mother at that time, and Mu Jinyu didn't exist either. Looking at the old man's sunken face, Mu Jinyu thought that the old man did not believe his words and pointed to the picture on the screen. "A few days ago at the Su family's banquet, I saw her get into this man's car with my own eyes. Zihan saw this too." Mu Jinyu also pulled Su Zihan in. There was one more witness to testify against Suanon's infidelity. "Yeah, Daddy, this kind of girl isn't compatible with Jinyu." Lady Mu followed suit. The whole family decided that Suanon was unclean and unworthy to be married to him. They were overthinking it. Even if Mu Jinyu wanted to take Suanon, she wouldn't want to live her life with a scumbag even if she were beaten to death. "Our Mu family wants innocent girls," Mu's father said, then turned to say that Suanon was unclean and had been with another man. "Dad, don't be fooled by her." The guests listened to Mu's father and Mu Jinyu's words and looked at Suanon with eyes full of disgust and contempt. How could a 20-year-old girl not be despised when she was hooking up with a man outside? "Enough," Old Man Mu said angrily, then turned to the hotel manager and said, "Delete the picture." Today, even if it was a bed photo of Suanon and a strange man, they couldn't let out the photo with such shamelessness. He had invited half of the wealthy class of Peace City to the feast. When the photo came out, no matter if it was real or fake, how was Suanon going to get married? "Jinyu, Anan's mother saved your life." Old Man Mu looked at Mu Jinyu and reminded him that one should not forget gratitude. Mu Jinyu lowered his head in embarrassment, and Suzy Han said from the side, "Yeah, brother Jinyu, Anan's mother saved you before. You can't abandon Anan for me. Even if an An follows another man, you can't help but repay her gratitude." Chapter 70. On the surface, Suzy Han tried to persuade Mu Jinyu, but she kept on talking about Suanon and the other men. "Grandfather, for the sake of money, she, Suanon, followed an old man. Such a person is unworthy to be my wife." Mu Jinyu stared at Suanon and said fiercely. Suanon accepted the looks from the surroundings and looked at Old Man Mu, smiling as she spoke. "Grandfather Mu, I did follow a man who was around 10 years older than me, but he was kind to me." Saying that, Suanon unconsciously smiled. She continued to look at Mu Jinyu and said sincerely, "Thank you, young Master Mu, for your consent. If not for young Master Mu being together with my sister 2 years ago, I would never have met such a good man." Old Madame Gu, who was below the stage, was extremely pleased when she heard Suanon praising her son. Those rumors about how vicious and terrible her family had become were all filled with jealousy. After Suanon finished speaking, the guests started boiling again. Previously, they had heard that the Mu family was accusing Suanan of cheating outside, but now, they had heard that Mu Jinyu was already together with Su Zihan 2 years ago. They had heard so many stories about him coming to the birthday banquet. Suanan, what nonsense are you spouting? Mu Jinyu's father said angrily. Regarding the matter between Su Zihan and Mu Jinyu, anyone with a discerning eye would be able to tell that they had already decided to get involved. But hearing it out from Suanan's mouth was a completely different matter. Now hearing that Mu Jinyu had started to abandon and hurt her, Suanan finally became the one who was wronged. As they listened, many of the guests started to sympathize with Suanan, looking down on Mu Jinyu for having different intentions. Anan. When Suzian heard the guests saying that she had shamelessly taken advantage of her sister's fiancé, she could not bear to listen any longer and hated Suanan to the core. How can you say that? Jinyu and I are truly in love. We have not let you down. Even after rolling in bed with Mu Jinyu for the past 2 years, Suzian was still able to open her eyes and tell lies. Yes. Suanan nodded. Of course, she knew that Suzihan and Mu Jinyu truly loved each other. Elder sister, if you loved young Master Mu, you should have told me earlier. Why did you hide this from me for 2 years, lie to my feelings, and hurt me? You two love each other so much. If you had said it out loud, I would have voluntarily withdrawn and granted you that wish. She had to withdraw to help this scum of a man and his mistress. They wanted to put the reason for the annulment on her, and she told them the truth. In other words, her attitude was more sincere, her tone was more gentle, and her expression was more miserable. Anyway, she was a victim. After Suanan finished speaking, she looked toward Old Man Mu at her side. Grandfather Mu, the marriage between me and young Master Mu should be annulled. I don't want my elder sister to become a mistress. She was cursing Su Zihan as the third person who had separated her and Mu Jinyu. The guests on the stage were very forgetful. They forgot about the photos of Suanan and the man, and all of them thought that it was Mu Jinyu who had an affair first. Suanan didn't do anything wrong. The wrong ones were Mu Jinyu and Su Zihan, who had betrayed her. Suanan, you. Su Zihan was furious. She bellowed, but before she could finish, Janmei grabbed her hand. Without Janmei by her side, Su Zihan would go berserk at any moment. Suanan was really upset for Su Zihan. She was obviously a proud and arrogant person, so why did she have to act out some sort of weakness? Woo. Being pinched by Janmei, Su Zihan cried in pain. Mu Jinyu stared at Suanan, who was laughing brilliantly on the stage, and did not have the mind to coax Su Zihan, who was crying. She actually agreed to break off the engagement. Suanan, you will regret this. Grandfather Mu, you don't need to give me this jade pendant. Suanan said to the old man in a serious tone. Old Man Mu was so angry that his face turned green. His son and grandson did not care that this was his 80th birthday banquet. In front of so many people, they wanted to force Suanan to take this loss. Anan, you must take this jade pendant. He faced all the guests and said, Today, I have something to announce. I want to take Suanan as my granddaughter and use this jade pendant as my witness. What granddaughter? So she's not a granddaughter-in-law? The people below started discussing, curious about Old Man Mu's decision. Mu Jinyu's father and Su Zihan were also stunned. They did not announce the marriage of Mu Jinyu and Suanan. Dad, how could you? Mu Jinyu's father spoke, but then tried to persuade him. Old Man Mu was already unhappy because of them. He bellowed out his words. What, my old man wants to take her in as my granddaughter, and I need to ask for your permission? They, the Mu family, knew very well what the jade pendant in Suanan's hand represented. Don't worry, and An is my foster granddaughter. It has nothing to do with you all. With that, Old Man Mu stuffed the jade pendant into Suanan's hands. Recognize this grandfather of yours. Suanan lowered her head to look at the jade pendant in her grandfather's hand. Mu Jinyu and the others had not treated her well, but Grandfather Mu had always protected her. Thank you, Grandpa. Suanan smiled and received the jade. Old Man Mu smiled with gratitude and said to the guests, Today, I was very happy. Having received such an obedient granddaughter, in the future she, Suanan, will be my Mu family's daughter. Seeing the old man say this, Mu Jinyu's father and the rest felt that there was nothing they could do. As the granddaughter of Old Man Mu, Suanan was unavoidably praised a lot by others. In the bathroom, she washed her face with cold water to clear her head. When she looked up, she saw an old woman staring at her from behind. She was smiling as she sized Suanan up. Suanan was a little scared when she saw this. Look how beautiful her daughter-in-law is. Old Madame Gu stared at Suanan in the mirror. No matter how she looked, she liked her a lot. The more old Madame Gu thought about it, the more excited she became. Suanan turned around and grabbed her hand. Not bad. Not bad, she boasted with a smile. When she saw the little girl being bullied on the stage earlier, she almost rushed forward to bring her down. This group of idiots didn't realize that the little girl wasn't having an affair with someone, she was openly becoming part of her family. Grandmother. Suanan was shocked by the old lady's sudden action, but seeing the old lady's amiable smile, she called out to her gently. Grandmother? Old Madame Gu was unhappy. She touched her face with one hand. Was she that old? Why do you call me grandmother? Call me mom. Suanan was surprised. Was it not wrong for a 20-year-old girl to call a 60-year-old woman grandma? Auntie?